Welcome back to another Handyman Land video. Today we'll be talking about the difference of a non-fused and a fused disconnect. And if you could just bear with my voice, I've been under the weather for about 5 days now, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but the show must go on. Also, I'll be explaining why I personally will never install another non-fused disconnect ever again. About a year ago, I made a video on how to wire up these non-fused disconnects. So I decided now that I'm going to change them out for a fused disconnect, I said let me make a video on it because I know a lot of you out there enjoyed the video and was glad that someone made a video that was step by step on how a disconnect box works. Now my setup here, I installed these two non-fused disconnects to my tankless water heater. You do not need to do this. I know a lot of people ask this question. Do they need to do this? No, you could run the line directly to the tankless water heater and not install a non-fused disconnect. For certain homes, it benefits people to have the disconnect. There are homes where to get to the main breaker box, you have to actually go outside, open up the garage door to cut off or shut off your breaker. That's where a disconnect box is good. And before I open up the disconnect and show you inside, let me explain or try to explain exactly what's happening in here when installing a disconnect. When there's a connection between two wires, then the resistance between the two wires becomes almost zero. And because of that, very high current can start to flow and cause burning. As you can see here, this is what I cut out last week. It's burnt so bad it actually feels almost like porcelain. Now, after seeing a few videos online and reading some stuff online and talking to a couple of electricians, the fix is when there's a short like that, they just cut off the burnt part and strip it and stick it right back in, and they don't replace it if there's no need to replace it. To me, if you see this type of problem already happening, it's going to happen again. It's bound to happen again. Why take the chance and hope that the main breaker does its job and breaks when something's happening here if there's ever a short in there? And that's why today I'll be installing a fused disconnect box and getting rid of these non-fused disconnect box. I prefer having the security of a fuse popping and not only relying that the breaker is going to break whenever there's a problem. So let me just show you how bad it got in here. Another thing is, always make sure the breaker's off, that there is no power here anytime you're opening up this box. Even though I have it on the off, I still always use voltage detector to make sure nothing's live. Not sure if you can see that. Look how bad that got. So that was eventually going to be a problem. Look at that. That was a potential short, bound to happen. It got so hot that it cracked the jacket, or some electricians say sheathing. As you can see, we can see copper. Now, because this is a non-fused disconnect, if there was a short, we would have needed to rely on the breaker to break. But if this was a fused disconnect, then the fuse would have bust before getting to the breaker. If you want to see the full video of these disconnect box, I'll leave a link in the description at the bottom. Also, I'll leave the link in the description at the bottom of this tankless water heater when I installed it. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to remove all this here and get ready to install my fused disconnect. I will also be installing conduit pipe as well. The reason why I don't have this in conduit pipe. I know some of you said, oh, you're supposed to have it. I know, but during the time that I installed this was during COVID, and I just couldn't get my hands on the stuff. No one had it, and it was like a 3-week wait online to get the stuff in. And I know no one's down here in the basement but other than me, so I just went ahead and just wired it like so. But I do have conduit pipe this time. Now we're in the workshop. Here's my 60 amp fuse disconnect. And if you look at the other one that I had installed, it's not much of a size difference. So let's open this one up here. So this fuse disconnect is the push out tab style. Not like this one where it's your on and off switch. Now, if we were wired up, right now it will be on, where this is powered up. Your danger and your on won't be upside down. If this was wired up, this will be hot right now. Now you pull this tab out, flip it upside down, now it's off. What makes your contact is right here. Right in there. Right there. It's powered on again. Let's pull the tab out. So these are our lines and these are our loads. Our line is our source of power. So where the source of your power is coming from, you go up in here and tie it into your line and your line. Your loads are these two on the side. Your load goes to your unit, whether it's an AC unit or a tankless water heater. And here is where our fuses will go. And this centerpiece here is our ground. Just remember, this is one side of your disconnect and this is the other side of your disconnect. So you'll have 120 going in here, 120 going in here. And when you take your voltmeter and you check with your leads, you should read 240. So it's pretty much the same concept as this disconnect box. If you didn't see my full video on this disconnect box, I think you should go ahead and see it. As for the price difference, for the non-fused disconnect, I paid $18 for this. This one, fused disconnect without fuses, I paid $28 for this. But the fuses, just two of these, was $26. So just these two fuses cost more than your non-disconnect. So you're basically paying more than double the price when you go with the fused disconnect. The reason why I say that I would never go with another non-fused disconnect box is because after reading and seeing online so many electricians going out to a call, and the source of the problem is here, where this is basically completely burnt up. Had it not been for the breaker breaking and doing its job, the house could have caught fire. And why I say I will go now with only a fuse disconnect is because I look at these fuses as a secondary safety feature, where I'm not only relying on the breaker to break, but also these fuses will go first. And that will stop the flow of current and stop the problem right here once and for all. So my concern was, after watching some of these videos of these HVAC guys going out to a call, all they were doing was, when they see the wire burnt, they just cut it, strip it again, reconnect it, and problem solved. But knowing that the issue is going to reoccur again, because once that very high current starts to flow again, it's going to cause the burning problem all over again. And I guess they're probably saying, oh, if something happens, the breaker will break. Well, that's what we're hoping that happens. But what if that doesn't happen? That's why I say they really should swap out the unit and put one of these fuse disconnects. And if the homeowner doesn't want to install the fuse disconnect due to the price range, at least they were educated and told of what can be better than what they have now. That's really just my opinion. Also, I am not a licensed electrician. I am a handyman. I've been doing this for over 20 plus years. If you are not comfortable in any way whatsoever, please hire a licensed electrician to take care of this for you, because if you do this, you'll be doing this at your own risk. This is for entertainment purpose only. Now that that was said, let's get back to the video. So I have a question. Hopefully someone out there can answer it for me. Any electrician or any HVAC guy. Because I asked 2 retired electricians and 3 other electricians that are out there right now doing the job day to day, and none of them could actually give me a straight answer. It was like they were all kind of guessing. Here's my question. My tankless water heater requires 2 50 amp breakers. So at my main, I have 2 50 amp breakers. Each breaker is connecting to a 60 amp disconnect. My question is, in my 60 amp disconnect, should I be installing a 40 amp fuse or a 50 amp fuse? That's my question. I went with a 40 amp fuse and not the 50 amp fuse. If anything goes wrong, I'm out 26 bucks, and then I know I just need to up it up to a 50 amp fuse. I know I cannot put a 60 amp fuse. That's definitely a no-no because I'm using 50 amp breakers. So that's my question on what size fuse should I be using with the 50 amp breaker. Should I be using the 50 amp fuse, or is it okay to just go ahead and use the 40 amp fuse? Hope that didn't sound too confusing, and if you have the answer, please leave it in the comment. I'll appreciate it. It's already late at night, and I'll be installing this tomorrow. So first things first, we're gonna try to figure out exactly where we want our disconnect at. I think that's good right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut all this off here. Here's the 90-degree fitting I'll be using. It's 3/4, so we'll need to knock out this whole thing here. So this will be for our line, and for our load, I'll be coming in through here. Okay. So once you have your screw in place, go ahead and hang it up. Get a torpedo level, because you want to make sure it's nice and leveled. Open the lid, and now tighten your screw. And once that's done, now go ahead and put 3 more screws, because you want to make sure you secure this to the wall. just show you where we're at. I have to clamp this here to give it more support. If you're having difficulty trying to get this wire in through the conduit, you can leave this part for last. Take your 90 fitting, fish it through the wire first, and then connect it. It'll make it more easier, because when you're dealing with 6'2" wire, it's a little more difficult. So just remember, this is a hot, this is a hot. This white is not a neutral, so we need to put some electrical tape to indicate that it is a hot. Also, if you could excuse the noise in the background, the wife is washing clothes right now. But I'm going to have to hold off on this line for now, due to the fact that where my load ground goes, I won't be able to get to this screw to tighten it down. If you can see here, when I put it in place, I don't have access to that screw no longer. You can see it probably better there. So let me start connecting the load. Right now I'm going to put my straight fitting conduit in. Just to show you where I'm at. I'm almost done with the disconnect. Have it wired in. Make sure your white is labeled as a hot. Cut in. Let's put our fuse. Okay, so disconnect 1 is done. It's in. And we're going to keep it on the off position for now. Just put this cover on. Now, I just want you to know that just because if you pull the tab out, don't think that there's no power still going here. Yes, there is. The source of your power that's going to your line will still have some juice there. You can get shocked. You have 120 there, 120 there. To completely shut this down, you have to shut it down from the main. Here is our main. These are our 50 amp breakers, 50 amp breaker. And if you look at our pull out here, when you plug it in, it'll complete the circuit. Then you'll have your 120 coming down the fuse onto your load and to your tankless water heater. So I just want everybody to keep in mind, even though the tab's out, there still is some voltage there. So let's go turn this on. Okay, so I have my voltmeter up there. Just show you from here on the loads, you should get 240 now. It's 240. So we're good. Same thing with our other disconnect, 240. So let me shut these two breakers off. As you can see, I also labeled them disconnect 1, and that'll be disconnect 2. Disconnect 1, disconnect 2. So here these covers go on first, so we have to remove the tabs again. Okay. now. Okay, give you a closer look. Okay, so you put this cover on first, and then you can put your tab back in place. And that's how everything should look when you're done. Okay, so the fuse disconnect boxes are working great. It's been at least 48 hours now. As you can see, someone is showering right now. I love it. I'm glad I made the change. Okay, I was about to end this video, and then after about 5 weeks, I even started editing the video already. And in 5 weeks, the fuse busted. One of them did. So I went out and I got the 50 amp fuse. These are also time delay fuse. I know earlier I asked the question, should I do the 40 amp or should I go with the 50 amp? I probably answered my own question by just waiting and see what happens. But one of the fuses did bust. I already turned it off at the main, but I still want to be sure. And how do we know it's bad? We have our meter set here to dial. Checking continuity here. 2 leads. That's what we want to hear. So from here to here, that fuse is good. From here to here, nothing. Nothing at all. From here to here, it's good. Good. So one fuse went, but I'm going to change them all out. And we'll just mark this one as a bad one. Okay. Whew. They are not easy to get in. Okay. Okay. Whew. For those that wanted to see the different brands, these I got from Lowe's, and these I got from the local electrical supply. Okay. Okay, we are done here. Okay, let's ask for some hot water. So we're back in business. So how did I know something was wrong? The water pressure went down and I was experiencing lukewarm water. Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video helps someone out there. The difference between the non-fuse and fuse disconnect. I know a lot of people have watched my non-fuse disconnect video, and I hope those that watch that also get a chance to watch this one. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, hit that bell icon, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.